Nneka Zonna. In the heart of Igbo land lived a prince called Nnamdi. Prince Nnamdi was a handsome and well sought after young man. He had 3 older sisters, Ngozi, Uchenna, and Nkechi. They adored their little brother and would do anything for him. And yet, Nnamdi was not a spoiled brat. He was considerate and kind and loved to help people less fortunate than himself. Nnamdi was an outgoing young man. With his friends, he loved to party and enjoy himself often late into the night. His best friend was a tall young guy he had known from his primary school days. He was called Ugo. Ugo was a prankster and a joker. He was always playing jokes on people, including Nnamdi. Both men were carefree and living their best life. Neither was married. That would come later. For now, they were sampling life in the fast lane in the rich principality in Igbo land where they lived. They worked out in the royal gym most days to keep fit and perfect their muscles to show off to the girls on their jaunts at night. Both men enjoyed popularity among the young women of the kingdom. Beautiful girls came and went. Relationships formed and broken. The 2 men seemed to be eternal bachelors and had really no need to settle down. Life was good as it was. Until, that is, one day, out of the blue, Nnamdi's father, the king, died. It was a massive shock to Nnamdi. What was he going to do? He had always thought his father would live forever. He had no idea how to behave as a king. He hadn't even bothered to learn the ropes from him when he was alive. He was in a tailspin as to how to live his predestined life as a royal. And the worst part was, as the new king, he was required to take a wife and start producing heirs. All the girls he was consorting with were all unsuitable. They were party girls. None of them would make a good queen, of that he was sure. His mother and sisters rallied around him. After the funeral of his father, a date was set for his coronation. The preparations of that occupied his mind, but not as much as the sudden quest for a wife. One evening, as he walked alone under the moonlight in the plush grounds of his now palace, he was surprised to find his mother sitting on a canopy in the animal garden. In a sand pit next to her, deer and chickens ran free. Nnamdi's eyes bristled with nostalgia at the memory of his father building the animal sanctuary as a present to him on his 10th birthday. He had not really appreciated this gift at the time. He was more into toy guns and cars back then. But now, looking at the beautiful animals now wandering around in the gardens of his huge home, he was grateful to see them. There were gods and creatures here in his home. How cool was that? His father knew best after all. "Mother, what are you doing here?" he asked. She looked deep in thought. "Nnamdi, come and join me." She beckoned him over. He went to sit by her side. He could see she had been crying. She was presently trying to hide away the tears. He put his arm around her. She slipped her arm around him likewise. They stayed motionless for a minute or 2. Nnamdi's mother, the queen, sighed. "Nnamdi, my son, my new king, I am ready to meet my new daughter-in-law." Nnamdi was so taken aback by her matter-of-fact way that she spoke that he almost laughed out loud. "Mother, please." "No, Nnamdi, you're not a boy anymore. You are now the king of this land. Everybody wants to see you married with a good woman. Are you thinking of this?" "Of course I am, mother. But I cannot force things. It takes time." "Is there anyone who seems interesting to you?" The queen looked hopefully at her son. "No one." "I don't believe you, son. You, the handsome prince of this land. Why, the girls must be falling over themselves to be your wife." "That's the problem, mother. They all want to be my wife for the wrong reasons. I need a woman who would love me for me, and that is hard to find. His mother considered his words for a minute. She held his hand. Yes, my son, I suppose you are right. It cannot be easy for you. She suddenly chuckled. It wasn't easy for your dad either. He had to ensure that I truly loved him for who he was. He got his friend to try to seduce me, but I wasn't interested. Even though his friend was even more handsome and richer than him. He tested my loyalty to the brink, but I stood firm because I truly loved him to this day. She started tearing up again as Nnamdi gave her a big hug. Just then, the palace gate opened and Uchenna, his sister, walked in with another woman by her side. They made their way towards the house. Nnamdi and the queen watched them in the dimming gate lantern as they made their way into the house. Nnamdi wondered who the woman with Uchenna was. He could make out her beauty even in the moonlight. He was intrigued. He had never seen this woman before. Maybe he would ask Uchenna later. His sister Uche was a nurse. She sometimes worked late in a city hospital in Enugu. She was always bringing friends home, but this one was different. Ugo was dressed to the nines. Nnamdi shook his head in disbelief when he saw him approaching in his Bugatti sports car. Was Ugo serious? He got up from the sofa in the living room where he was sitting and walked over to the carport to meet his friend. Ugo, my man, where do you think you are going in your pimped-up clothes, bro? Nnamdi inquired, laughing. What do you talk? Ugo replied, laughing back and giving his friend the urban handshake. I dey go out with you now. Come, Jare, let's go party. You know the tired doing this king palaver they don't force on you. Come on now. Nnamdi laughed. His friend didn't just get it. That their party days were over. It was the season to find wives and not to keep on partying like they were doing in their young age before his father died. Ugo, you Peter Pan, you will never grow up. Listen, Ugo retorted. Growing up is just the first step to growing old. I don't want that. Just because they make you king doesn't mean I can't enjoy myself anymore. Nnamdi pulled his friend by the hand into the house. Come, I have something to discuss with you, Ugo, he whispered, so the guards who were standing nearby wouldn't hear. Once inside, Ugo was all ears. What is it, brother? There was a hint of worry in his voice. What is it that is eating you so much we can't go party one more time? Stop with your party, Nnamdi chastised him. I got more important things on my mind. More important than party? Wow, it must be something, Ugo said, taking a seat. Ugo, I think I found my bride. Ugo almost fell off his chair. Hey boy, when did this happen? Jai, brother, you hide things from me? But I'm telling you now. Okay, Nnamdi, calm down. Tell me, who is this girl? What's her name? Nnamdi sat down at this point. He looked at his friend sheepishly. He felt a bit stupid, but his mind was made up. He was a man with a plan. Ugo, this is the weird part. I don't actually know her name. Ugo was stunned into silence. His expectant smile slowly evaporated from his lips. Then a serious expression formed on his face. He looked out through the open window for a second, and then his gaze settled back onto his friend. Tell me you're not serious, Nnamdi, he said. Then he started laughing uncontrollably. I knew it. The stress of being king is turning you into a madman. Oh my God. This is unbelievable. You have found your bride, but you don't know her name. Are you mad, Nnamdi? You disgrace. He went over and thumped Nnamdi on the shoulder. Bro, I have a job for you now, Nnamdi said quietly. Ugo sat back down. Wait, you want me to go and find out the name of the girl you are crushing on? He looked incredulously at Nnamdi. Nnamdi smiled. His friend was catching on real quick. He liked that. Exactly right. The girl is Uchenna's friend. She is a beautiful woman. I saw her from afar and I already knew she would be my wife one day. I can't explain it, Ugo. It's written in the stars or something. That's all I can tell you. I can't stop thinking about her. He stopped to study Ugo's face. Ugo was staring back at him like a psychiatrist would regard their patient. Nnamdi, I repeat, are you mad? So you see some girl and you decide you want to marry her? Bro, that's not how it's done, oh. The normal way is to try her out. If she fits, okay, you take her. If not, you discard. Like we have done plenty girls in our life. You don't decide it's a God thing out of the blue. I don't care how beautiful she is. The least you can do is at least find out more about her. Her bloody name for a start. Besides, you don't even know if she has a boyfriend. That's where you come in, Ugo, Nnamdi said. I want you to be her boyfriend. Seduce her. I don't think she has a boyfriend. Uche and her group of friends, they're all single. Ugo laughed. You want me to date this girl? This girl that you want to marry? Chineke, you are out of your mind. Ugo, listen to me. It's important to me that the girl I marry loves me for me. I want you to befriend her first. Then I step in. Then she must choose. If she chooses me, she's mine. If she chooses you, so be it. She is yours. But you already have feelings for her. How would it feel if I win her? No, bro. This is fucked up. I don't want any part of your plan. Listen, Ugo. I am not asking you to sleep with her. All I am asking is that you ask her out on a couple of dates. Then I accidentally meet you guys whilst on a date and I take over and you disappear. If she pines for you, I know she's not for me. If she is into me, I shall know. I only ask that you pamper her, spoil her, so she'll be tempted by you. I want to test her. You are an idiot, Prince Nnamdi, Ugo declared. But you are my bro. I got your back. I will do your stupid plan. You owe me. Especially as Uche, your sister, hates my guts and won't let me anywhere near her friends. You owe me big time, my friend. You are the best, Ugo. Yes, sure. Ugo got up and without a glance, he left. Nneka was not feeling well at all today. Maybe it was the heat. Maybe it was because there was still a long line of patients waiting to see Dr. Izubu in the cardiology outpatients where she was seconded for the day. She was looking forward to her day off the next day. She had worked 5 consecutive 12-hour days and she was exhausted. She looked at the next name on her list to call out. Michael Obiamiwe. She called out the name. In the hall in front of her, she could see no one answering her call. There were many people there waiting to see the doctor. But no one answered. She was about to call the next name when, from the corner of her eye, she noticed a tall man get up and start walking towards her. He was carrying something in his left hand. He approached her and she was wondering if he was in the right place. This was a well-dressed man in an expensive suit, no less. Her patients were mostly old, poor, and unhealthy. This man looked healthy enough. In fact, he was quite a handsome athlete type. He walked straight up to her and with his right hand clutching the left side of his chest And now she could see he was carrying the most beautiful bunch of roses she had ever seen. He declared in front of everyone in a loud voice, "Nurse Nneka, angel of God, your beauty strikes at my heart every time I cast my eyes on you. My heart belongs to you. Accept these flowers from my humble hands as I beseech thee to join me for a date tomorrow night at the restaurant of your choice. Save my heart, beautiful lady, say yes." And then he knelt down on one knee in front of her, leaving her open-mouthed and wide-eyed. The other patients were staring at the man and at her. Nothing happened like this in this clinic before. Then everybody started laughing and chanting, "Say yes, say yes, say yes." And before she knew it, she was smiling at the man and accepting his offer of a date tomorrow night. It was all a blur to her. She couldn't even remember the details. The date turned out to be fantastic. The guy, whose real name turned out to be Ugo Ezeanwu, was apparently the best friend of Uche's brother, the king. Ugo wined and dined her in first-class style at the Ritz Hotel restaurant, having picked her up from her home in his Bugatti and causing quite a stir in her village. Her father was now taking bets from the old men in the village that she would marry this guy within a year. Ugo was easygoing and very funny. She laughed so much she even forgot all about the severe headache and fever that had been brewing since last Tuesday. The bruises on her body were getting worse. She kept procrastinating on asking Dr. Okafor for advice. Right now, she was having fun, even though she was getting that familiar, fainty feeling again. By the time she and Ugo were walking back to his car, she couldn't feel her feet anymore. He sounded and looked distant. She felt as though an elephant was sitting on her head. The lights in the Ritz Hotel started to hurt her eyes. She found it difficult to breathe. She tried to say something to Ugo, but he was now on the other side of the car and he couldn't hear her. She tried to take a step, but the heaving in her chest made it impossible to do so. She leaned against the car, and then all of a sudden, she vomited. She could hear footsteps, but she couldn't be sure whose footsteps. By the time the person got to her, she was out cold.